welcome to our next video about how to fix our body postnatally and get you feeling really strong and healthy, and any of that mummy tummy you've been concerned about, we are going to work on. So this video is now really starting to look at our core. So hopefully you've assessed whether you've got diastasis recti. If you haven't, it's back on your introduction video. Hopefully you've already started learning and practicing how to breathe deeply into that stomach, into the ribs, and what we call a 360 breath as well. Now we're going to take this the next step further, because now we're going to really start trying to engage into these deep transverse abdominal muscles, the ones that are going to help us not only build a strong core that's going to make us kind of reduce any aches and pains, hopefully reduce down any pelvic floor issues, hopefully expand our kind of breathing capability. But also, if you are struggling with diastasis recti, where your abdominal muscles, your rectus abdominal muscles, aka your six-pack muscles, have split, and you feel like you've got a mummy tummy or you've got a pouch, we can go and work on that as well, because what we want to do is create tension. So just to recap, these six-pack muscles that we have on our bodies, that you all have, even if you think that you don't, they are there, I promise. They run vertically like two tram lines here, okay? Between them is a joined up bit of tissue called the linea alba. And for most people, when they haven't had a baby and they haven't had any issues, there's going to be about 1 centimetre to 2 centimetres of tissue that joins these six-pack muscles. When we have been pregnant, they have separated to allow the baby to grow. And what we are trying to do is make sure that this tissue now that's sat between these two transverse abdominal muscles gets back being tense. Because if you imagine it's being stretch, baby goes, we've now got muscles stuck out here, and basically a bit of flappy linea alba. Now for some, that's going to naturally come back in. For some, it's not. And if it's not come back in and it's loose, this is where you're going to get what we often call bulging. So those that have bulging quite often are aware of it, because actually they might be quite like flat around here. And then when, especially if they're doing any kind of like sitting up motion, getting out of bed, getting out of a chair, suddenly they feel like there's this like bulge that takes place down the center of their belly, or sometimes a concave, but actually it goes in. And that's because we just got this looseness here. Now to get that looseness back tight, we need to build strength around our whole core. So our transverse abdominal muscles, these TVAs, are like big arms that wrap around our tummy and join in here. And we can start getting them tightening. This linea alba is going to start coming back in as well. And we're going to be able to engage our core correctly. And so much of this as well is a mind to muscle connection thing, that when we are thinking about our core, we're thinking about trying to stabilize and contract our muscles, our brain actually knows what to do. And that often takes practice to really focus. So we start things simple and we build things harder as we progress. Because if you're going to try and do a hard core-based exercise and your brain's not really wired for your stomach muscles, the chances are you're not engaging them, or you're not engaging them correctly, and you might actually do more harm than good. So we're going to start in a really regressed position, really simple, basic core-based exercises. And if you can feel it, great, we move on. And if you're struggling with it, we stay where we are and we don't rush the process. So guess what? We're going to lie on our backs again. So a lot of these exercises are going to start lying on our backs. We're going to go and find that natural position on the floor, okay? Where we naturally just want to lie down. There might be a little bit of gap under our spine. You can always have your head on a little pillow if you like to, because some people really struggle with the neck the whole way back. Pull your feet in so they're comfortable underneath your bum, okay? So hands are going to go just where our hip bones are, and our fingers are going to fit inside. Let me just show you to the camera. So we're going to basically be here, okay? So my palms are on my hip bones, and my fingers are right down kind of on top of my pubic bone. Because what we're going to try and do is start really getting some tension in this lower part of the abdomen into our TVA. So if we have our fingers on, we can physically feel and see whether we're engaging these things, and that's really helpful to teach our brain how to engage to it, because there's now some sensations attached to it. And what I want you to do is I want you to breathe like we did in the last video. So you're going to take a deep breath in into that tummy, okay? So your hands are going to lift to start with. When you exhale, we're going to obviously exhale the air back out of our tummy, and I want you to think about your fingers are going to sink into your stomach, because we're going to engage these deep core muscles here. So we're going to take a deep breath in into our tummy. As we exhale, our fingers are going to go down, and we're going to keep pushing our abdomen into the floor, and hopefully what you're going to find is a little bit of tension here. So now this part of my abdomen, it's got some firmness to it. Okay, so we won't be able to hold it for that long, so we're just going to relax. Then we're going to do it again. Now, it's really important we do this on the exhale. So I ask you just to contract your core. What most people do is suck in their tummy and they don't breathe. Okay? That isn't contracting the abdomen that I want to. That's just sucking in your tummy and not breathing. We have to learn to do it through breathing. So if we take the deep breath in to start with, tummy up. As we exhale, push the fingers down towards the floor and find the tightness here. Now, what we just keep checking that tightness and start trying to continue to breathe and see how long you can maintain this tightness for. Now, it's a muscle contraction, so you might lose it after a few seconds. You might be able to hold it for a good 30 seconds to a minute, depending on where your strength levels are. But let's just relax down. That is literally step one. Step two is we're gonna, every time we're gonna breathe out and we're gonna push our fingers down, we're gonna lift a knee up. Taking the leg up is gonna make more pressure on this area. It's gonna be more effort. So you're gonna breathe in, tummy high. As you breathe out, lift your knee here and back down. Now, once you've got this tension here, you can just rotate the knees. Now, I'm still breathing. I'm still breathing into my stomach. It's not such a deep breath, okay? So we're not holding our breath. What you can do is you can time it, which is really good. That you breathe in as the foot goes down. Breathe out as the knee comes up. Really slow and controlled. If you find that you're starting to rock, we've lost the contraction, okay? So take your time. Now, to advance this further, I'm going to start with both knees lifted. Now, even just holding this position, these muscles have had to switch on, okay? Make sure they are. Make sure you haven't ended up with this huge gap under here. Tilt the pelvis towards you. Feel the tension. So we're advancing now, so you can always regress back. Same thing with this time. As we breathe out, we're going to drop our heel towards the floor, and then we're going to come back up. It's all very steady. So if we keep the tension here, everything should be really calm and controlled. If there's no tension here, you're going to end up rocking like so, okay? So keep an eye on that. Hands here, feel the tension. If you feel it goes, just take a rest and go again. So set up, deep breath in. As we exhale, we are lowering our heel to the floor and we breathe in to come up. We exhale, we take the heel to the floor. We breathe in, we come back up. Now, all of these exercises, I would suggest you do for either reps of about 10 to 20 or maybe about 20 seconds at a time, building up. But the slower and the more controlled you do, the way better, okay? Do not rush them because you want to sustain that muscle contraction for as long as possible. If you're breathing in and out really quickly and you're releasing and contracting those muscles really quickly, you may be only holding the contraction for half a second. If you take a long time to extend the leg out and a long time to bring the leg back in, you might be holding that contraction for 3, maybe 4 seconds. That's going to be way better. Not only to strengthen that muscle, but to build that mind-muscle connection to it as well. So next stage on this exercise, it's called a dead bug. It's very similar to what we've just done, but we're now introducing arms as well. So a bit more movement requires more effort to keep that control in this lower abdomen. So same setup where we're going to have our knees lifted. So we're at a right angle with our hips and a right angle with our knees, okay? This does not do a lot for your abdomen at all, okay? Keep out here. Again, feet down here is easier. Feet up here is where we want them. So a right angle and a right angle. Arms are going to go above our heads. Now, instead of just one leg going in and out like this, we're now going to do one leg and one arm, okay? Don't stress too much if it's opposites or the same because that's more of a coordination thing, which we're not going to worry about now. So we're going to take a deep breath in. As we exhale, we're slowly lowering. Obviously now I don't have my hands on my abdomen, so I can't do the visual check or I can't feel it, but I have to trust that I can feel those muscles contracting. So exhale as we go, like so. Now again, really keep note on your form, because a lot of people will do this. They go, this is easy, this is lovely. There's no contraction there. This is about finding the contraction and making it harder, so that contraction's having to work harder, not just are my legs and feet moving at the same time, or legs and arms moving at the same time. The final progression I would say on this is, once you can do that dead bug and you can feel control on it, we're going to roll over. So now we're going to come onto our hands and knees. Now the reason we do this as a progression, because now we've got gravity against us as well, okay? So we're not just having to pull in those abdomens, but we're putting it in against gravity. So the first thing, we can kind of regress back a bit, and just to start with, just take a deep breath in. It's going into my stomach. As we exhale, this is coming up, okay? This is now tight, okay? From here, we can just try and hold it as we breathe, or we can now start adding in some dynamic movement. So again, we're trying to exhale as we move, inhale as we come back. Always good to do this in the mirror to check that this isn't happening, okay? It might seem crazy, but it will happen. If there's no control here, as soon as you release an arm, you're gonna see some dipping in here. You can even advance this further if you're a lot further down the line, to lifting your knees and doing the same again, okay? That's a big advancement that I only want to do if all the other stages you feel totally in control of. If you can't feel it down here, regress and make sure that nothing else is moving. We're going to talk in the next video about glute activation, and that also is in charge of that pelvic tilt. So when we're on the floor, this position here on where these hips are going is what we're going to do next. So watch that when you be getting stuck as well, because that might be the answer to some of your problems you're having on this one. Thank you for watching.